Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Just before I got off the plane, a bomb went off in New York.
I've been briefed about the bombings in New York and New Jersey.
Do you have any reaction to the fact that Donald Trump immediately upon taking the stage tonight called the explosion in New York a bomb and pulled that to the crowd?
Well, I think it's important to know the facts.
Live from an undisclosed location.
There is no evidence at this point of a terror connection.
A bomb exploding in New York is obviously an act of terrorism.
Unchained and unstoppable.
I'm the only candidate in this race who has been part of the hard decisions to take terrorists off the battlefield.
We came, we saw, he died.
Who do you love? Howie Carr.
We are in a fight, a narrative fight with them.
In some ways, this is actually just a war of narratives. And so we want to make sure that we're getting out our counter-narrative against ISIL, and we're having some progress.
And we're going to continue to enlist tech companies and community and religious leaders to push back against online extremist content and all messages of hate.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
The FBI investigating if the man who went on a stabbing rampage at a Minnesota mall had ties to terrorism.
Well, first of all, just grateful that nobody got hurt.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Obama wants to enlist religious leaders, reminding me of what Uncle Joe Stalin said during World War II about the Pope. How many divisions does the Pope have? How many divisions do the religious leaders have? Do we even know if the religious leaders are on our side or are they on their side? Assuming that they're religious leaders of the religion of peace.
Is Reverend Wright going to be brought in on this effort?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Bleep, bleep, America. The sky is dark with America's chickens coming home to roost. Yeah, that's the kind of religion. Or Al Sharpton talking about white interlopers, the Reverend Al Sharpton. Or Reverend Jesse Jackson talking about Hymietown. Oh, wow. What a collection here. 1-844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. If you'd like to join us here this afternoon, every weekday afternoon. This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Casper, the single perfect mattress that's changing the industry. Try it for 100 nights risk-free. Go to Casper.com and use code Howie for $50 towards the purchase of your mattress. We're going to take your calls here. Terms and conditions apply, by the way. We're going to take a lot of calls. In this segment, we have Ann Coulter with us at the bottom of the hour. And by the way, I have an announcement to make. Ann Coulter is coming to New England on October 28th. Ann will co-host the show with me live from the Kowloon in Saugus, Massachusetts. And you're invited. Watch Ann and I broadcast live as you enjoy a delicious buffet meal from the Kowloon. This event is going to sell out quickly, so order your tickets now at HowieCarrShow.com. Click on events. Go to HowieCarrShow.com. Click on events. Every ticket holder will receive a free copy of Ann's new book, In Trump We Trust, E Pluribus Awesome. And VIP ticket holders will be invited to a private meet and greet with Ann and me before the show. Get your tickets now to see Ann Coulter and me, Howie Carr, at the Kowloon on October 28th, HowieCarrShow.com. Click on events. Now, I just want to play a couple of cuts here. This is this David? Who's the guy that says there could be 2 or 3 lone wolves who are involved in this? David Rhodes?
David Rode.
Oh, David Rhodes. This is not to be confused.
Yeah, he's some analyst I've never heard of, not to be confused with
David Rhodes. Or David Rhodes, who's the head of CBS, or the Ben Rhodes, the 2 brothers anyway. One of them works for Obama and the other one works for Obama at CBS. Let's put it that way. That's the best way. Let's hear that one again, just in case. I can't get enough of this one. This is, again, it's like, we had Dr. Sebastian Gorka on earlier, and he said this is getting to be like a bad Saturday Night Live or a bad Monty Python sketch.
Again, there has been this, we've seen this stream of attacks, and it can be, 2 or 3 lone wolves who somehow got together and radicalized online.
2 or 3?
2 or 3 lone wolves.
Okay. Now this is Hillary. Hillary had a press conference of sorts today before she went out on the campaign trail, only took questions from female reporters and just said a bunch of incomprehensible things. For instance, cut number 29 here. Maybe we don't.
Let's remember what happened on 9/11. These were not refugees.
They were not refugees on 9/11, but I'm going to, it's just eluding me. It's just a little beyond my grasp. There was some connection between the Sarnievs and this guy from the chicken place and the stabber in Minnesota and the shooter at the Pulse and the shooters in San Bernardino.
You know, 2 or 3 lone wolves.
What did they all have in common? Other than the fact that they weren't born here. 99% of them weren't born here. All right. Donna Brazile, too. I just want to get these cuts played. Some of these cuts are pretty funny. This is Donna Brazile from the Democratic National Committee talking about Hillary last weekend.
And she went out there last Sunday, Joy, because she loved her constituents and she wanted to stand up for them. And although she had to be lifted into that van, you know what? She got up. Like most of us, she got up and she kept fighting. So that.
She had to be lifted into. They had to throw her into the van like a sack of potatoes. But she was still fighting for you, at least if you're a Muslim, quote-unquote, refugee. That's for sure. Yes. Okay. Let's take some calls here right away. Let's go straight to the calls. Arthur, you're next with Howie Carr on the General Communications listener line. Go ahead, Arthur.
Well, you know, she couldn't wait to disagree with Trump that she didn't realize that she agreed with him.
You know the Star Tribune in Minneapolis. I was reading their paper today. I was kind of surprised, just like I was surprised to hear Andrew Cuomo refer to the bomber as being of foreign descent. You know, the Star Tribune, a very red moonbat paper, said man screamed Allah as he stabbed people in mall. So I thought, well, this is a story I have to read since they mentioned Allah in the headline. And, you know, I got down into the deep part of the story, Arthur, and they said he made the stabbings shortly after there were some suspicious bombings in New York City. Suspicious bombings as opposed to, you know, regular bombings in New York City.
You know something, Howie? I mean, you sound, a lot of times you say things that I'm thinking all the time. This is enough to make you throw up that we're living in a country, our country, your country, the country that was once an American country, took it over, and these people are taking us down to the path of ruin. We're going to go down faster than the Titanic. The Roman Empire lasted 1,000 years, and for everything that brought them down is what's going on today. Mm-hmm. They brought in all these people because they kept bringing them in, and you know what? They're here embedded so deeply. We're never going to get these people out.
You know, after the Roman Empire started decaying and started opening up the borders and welcoming barbarians, as they called them, into the empire, it took about 200 years for Rome to fall. I don't think it's going to take us that long, Arthur.
No, it's not, Howie. And you know something, and you know, we love this country. You know, to see people turn around and not even respect you know. They didn't respect the flag when they decided one day it was okay to burn the flag. But you know what? We've got nobody on our side. We don't have the power. We've lost control. They have the press. They have the schools. They have the kids. They have the colleges. They count the votes. What have we got? You know, we're talking, and I hope that on election day we'll be walking instead of talking.
Thanks for the call, Arthur. I got to play this. This is a cut again. This is one of these crazy female reporters, and I say this phrase too often, but try to imagine if Donald Trump had been asked a variation of this kind of conspiracy question, and if he had answered it seriously the way Hillary did, what would happen to Donald Trump? It would be the end of his campaign. But for Hillary, she does. I mean. She should have just said, that's the most ridiculous question I ever heard. But did she say that? No. Listen to this question in her answer. Cut number 24.
Hi. Hey, Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Are you concerned that this weekend's attacks or potential incidents in the coming weeks might be an attempt by ISIS or ISIS sympathizers or really any other group, maybe the Russians, to influence the presidential race in some way and presumably try to drive votes to Donald Trump, who is, as you've said before, widely seen as perhaps being somebody who they would be more willing to or see as an easier person to be against?
Well, Jennifer, I don't want to speculate, but here's what we know. And I think it's important for voters to hear this and weigh it in making their choice in November. We know that a lot of the rhetoric we've heard from Donald Trump has been seized on by terrorists.
So in other words, the answer is yes. The Russians or ISIS are behind this because they want to elect Donald Trump. Why would they want to elect Donald Trump when they could have Hillary Clinton? Especially ISIS, well, both of them. I mean, Russia's done business with the Clintons, as we know, from the uranium deal. And ISIS knows Hillary Clinton has pledged to increase the number of so-called refugees, unvetted refugees, coming in here from Syria and elsewhere into the country.
Also, we know that Russia has a trove of blackmail material from her email server.
Right. Why would Russia want to elect Donald Trump? I don't think they have anything on Donald Trump. I know ISIS doesn't want the guy. He said he's going to destroy ISIS. She's not interested in destroying ISIS. She wants to bring them into the country and at the same time disarm the American people. Why would they be for? Who is this woman, Jennifer? What is she on?
Why weren't the other reporters laughing at her?
It's just that press conference was very strange, very strange. I kept waiting for a man to get the ask a question, but then I realized that was a stupid thing.
I think the texters are onto something. They're all wondering if that was a planted question. I think you could ask that about a number of the questions she was asked this morning.
Yeah, exactly. That was just the worst one. Nick, you're next with Howie Carr on the General Communications listener line. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, how you doing, Howie?
Good.
Hey, this time around, at least from what we understand, there were, 5 persons of interest in a car headed for who knows where with weapons. Well, these people are alive, unlike the sorry-ass person from Minnesota. And by the way, like the Sinaeus, I'd like to know how much the federal government, how much we, the federal government, and the state government out there paid for that family to raise that piece of trash from 5 years old over here and raise him to become a terrorist. And I don't know maybe send him to college as well.
He was in
but
college.
This time around,
he was in college.
Huh?
The Somali was in college. Yes.
Yeah. Who was paying?
Got a mirror, Nick.
So this time around, we've got about maybe half a dozen lone wolves.
Yeah.
To maybe connected at the
the FBI. The FBI said that they went after those guys just because they went. I guess they got a bucket of chicken. I don't know. They were at the place and then they left and they were heading over the Verrazano Narrows Bridge and they stopped them because they didn't know where they were going. But they I don't know if they. I don't know. They got at least one there.
We don't know if they're connected.
We don't know about the 5.
Yeah, you got the one chicken eater there, and the thing is, what's his story? What is he going to reveal? What kind of a lone wolf upbringing has he had? And you said it earlier, Howie. Here we go again. Yeah, they were on the watch list. How many watch lists were they on? And the vetting is working real well.
Yeah, I know. And everybody says, oh, well, at least they can get some intelligence. Steve said this. They can get some intelligence out of him.
It's a valid point. Dr. Gorka also said he'd be interrogated over the days and weeks to come. They should pull his fingernails out until he tells them what he knows.
Okay, yeah, they're going to do that. You know what? This is just going to be total frustration. This trial. We were through this in Boston in the Sarniev trial. The guy is going to have he doesn't not just has a jury consultant, death penalty witnesses, death penalty lawyers. In this case, he won't be put to death. He has a regular defense team. He's going to have a pollster. He's going to, believe me, if you're not from Boston, you don't know this. They're going to give him a pollster. They're going to bring over all of his relatives from whatever savage land that he came from, Afghanistan, so that they can be character witnesses after he's found guilty. They're going to build him a new cell at the Supermax so that he can face Mecca every day. This is going to end up costing us $20, $30, $50 million before it's all through. And then they keep appealing it. He's only like 22, 23, whatever, 28. He's going to be appealing this when all of us are dead. And it's all going to be paid for by our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. Someone who wants to kill us. Wonderful. I'm Howie Carr.
He didn't come here to be made sport of. Howie Carr.